There's a weird woman outside the car.
We're not doing anything weird.
We're just, doing teenage things.
Teenage. Not like normal teens.
I'm 57. So we're here today. We're going to do a movie review on The Conjuring 2.
We got early tickets to go see it with a live stream Q&A going on after with Verra. I'm not sure if that's how you say her last name.
She plays Lorraine.
She plays the main character, main woman. Madison Wolfe, who plays the young girl in it, and James Wan, who I believe either directed it, produced it, or both.
Yeah.
He directed the first one. He's made a lot of really great horror films, top notch. We've both seen the first one. Both really liked it. I've not seen the doll story.
Annabelle?
One of those two. And,
yeah.
But we haven't seen those, but we're really looking forward to see this. So we're going to give you guys a review whenever we get back.
Yeah. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be good, and we'll just let you guys know. And
so we'll check out you guys.
But we are really big horror fans, so I take our thing with a grain of salt. If you don't like horror, and we say it's really good, then
our life is horror.
Don't go see it. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, we are back from seeing the movie. I thought it was fantastic. I highly recommend going to see it. It was fucking terrifying. I have not seen a movie in theaters where I flat out screamed in years, and this one literally made me scream in the theater.
Yeah.
And I'm not usually someone that does that.
Coward. There was a lot of water.
A lot of water.
I don't like water.
I would say go see it. I think it was really good.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
For those of you who don't know, why wouldn't you know? It's why are you seeing this if you haven't seen the first one? But it follows the story of Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are paranormal investigators of sorts. And they are investigating this family in England who is being tormented by a spirit, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Non-spoilery.
Yeah, there's no spoilers there for you. But yes, if you like horror, if you like anything made by James Wan, if you like Amityville horror sort of stuff, you will probably like this movie. Very well made and very creepy. From this point on, this video will have spoilers. So if you've not seen this or you do not want spoilers, stop watching it now.
There was a lot of comedy, unexpected comedy. I don't really know if this is a spoiler, but I guess I wasn't expecting it, so I wouldn't have wanted it to be ruined.
A lot of jokes about the time period, especially the picking up the camera. I'm like, wow, it's so light and easy to handle.
And it's like this big.
Yeah,
like
it's obviously a handle, like from the 70s, because it takes place in 77. Yeah, some really great lines. Really good, like, deadpan sort of humor that's just, like, very fitting of a horror film. And a great soundtrack that's just, like, deeply unsettling.
Yeah, and some good touching moments that don't get ruined by horror. So that was, like, nice. Like, they're having a nice
kind
moment.
Of unexpected, really.
Yeah, and there was a lot of, like, long, suspenseful scenes where you're like, I know something's gonna happen, but it doesn't happen for a long time.
Right, and there's a lot of the long, suspenseful scenes where they talked about this in the Q&A that we were at afterwards, is that a lot of them are done continuously, so they're not done as jump cuts. There's a lot of long scenes that are just done in
like one take.
So
a lot of like running around for the actors.
Yeah, which that's really cool. I liked that.
The woman giving the Q&A was annoying.
Yeah,
is that appropriate to say about someone?
We didn't like her.
But yeah, so it was just like really good, and there wasn't like a twist. I didn't really feel like there was a twist so much, because you could kind of tell immediately that the spirit of the old guy was like there was something like not right about it.
Right, because that's like pretty, I feel like if you know a lot about any sort of paranormal thing, you're like, well,
yeah, they don't follow you, like spirits are not gonna like follow you.
They can't leave
they don't, like,
the house.
They're not gonna levitate people or turn off all the lights, because that's
know.
very powerful, like angry.
Yeah, and like they wouldn't be able to do that, and so I think that was, you could kind of tell. I didn't guess it right away, but I did.
Yeah,
feel
I mean,
like...
I thought maybe he had become like, which sometimes you can like fester into something, you know, especially if it had been a while.
Right, I kind of thought maybe there was like some sort of demonic thing. I didn't guess that it was connected to the demonic thing in the beginning.
No, I didn't guess that. Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay.
I just guessed that there was maybe like two, or like one that was like following them, or like, and then.
But I did like the built up suspense of that scene of them like, oh, we're gonna leave, and like they don't need our help, and they're faking it, and then discovering it on the train and having to go back. That was such a good way to build that up, because everybody's already tense because of this, you know, story going on, and then they build up all this other stuff. I thought that was super well done. I really liked the way they did that. Yeah, I liked the way that she had all these interactions with this demon before like the ending thing. That was just her and the demon, like from the beginning. They started that off, and that was the whole story arc. Yeah, it was really about her and the demon, and I thought that was super cool. Yeah, and I kind of did not see that coming. I was like, oh, I didn't really connect that till the end.
Yeah, I thought it was just something that was following them, because I was like a little like uncertain. I was like, was this demon the same one that was in the Amityville house and then it moved? Right. Because she first met it in the Amityville house when she goes there for like a seance. So I like, you know, but that doesn't like really affect the story. Like sometimes stuff like that will affect the story, but it like doesn't really at all.
And I didn't know that that was going to connect to it, because in the first one they sort of make a reference to the doll that they have another movie about, and then that doesn't play into it for the rest of the movie. That's just like, we're going to talk about this for a second, and then that's not ever going to be brought up. So I thought maybe they were doing the same thing with the Amityville house, but it actually did connect to the whole story.
Yeah. When they're like on the train, he drops the stuff and it like forms an X. I was like, and they kept going, and I'm like, am I supposed to be like realizing what he's thinking right now, because I'm just staring at it, and that's like,
I just now realized that it was supposed to be like, oh, you're supposed to play them together.
Yeah, it took me like a little bit.
I thought it was supposed to be like a cross or some shit.
I was like, what is happening right now? Is he like, oh my god, a cross came, Jesus is
and how did he get it to play perfectly together? Like, who's actually able to do that?
Tapes don't work like that. That's not how it works. It's not, like, it would have been like mildly messed up, but it was
sounded so, but
it was really cool the way they did it and whatever, but and then as soon as it played, then she was able to like connect with the demon, connect with the man spirit, and I was like, that was really cool. But that old man was creepy as fuck, like just by himself.
Like, that was like when his face first showed up behind her, where it was all like,
that
like literally made me scream out loud, and I was like, I don't know why, but man, that guy freaked me the fuck out.
It was like,
he was creepier to me than the demon.
The demon was just kind of like looked like Marilyn Manson.
It did. I kept
like a lot. It was like super weird, so I was kind of like, maybe I'm into you. But like the old guy was just like so creepy, terrifying. And I don't know if it was like, I need to figure out if it was like an actor that played him or if it was all like CGI, because he was so like long and like,
yeah, that's the thing that freaks me out a lot, is like really elongated limbs and like fingers and stuff. Like there's certain parts, like when the guy's walking in and he's got his sight messed up, and then you see that hand on the side of the door that's like, and the fingers are all outstretched. That like just is so unsettling to me, and I cannot pinpoint why, but it is so like,
and the whole like crooked man thing, every time the demon was like the crooked man, and they were so like, I was like, stop.
The crooked man thing was such an interesting way to go with that, and it was so like, in your face scary. Like it wasn't, there was a lot of it that was like that suspense scary. You're just waiting for something to pop up, and pops up, and then you move on. Like that was so like, it's coming right at you sort of.
Yeah, it was like really creepy and like unsettling. But yeah, I mean, it was just like, I'm like, oh, terror. I'm like, I'm just trying to have a good time. But then like, she just like, in my opinion, if I, like, destroyed a Bible while I was, like, having a catatonic dream, I probably would have just, like, left that somewhere.
I know, I would have thrown it away. I was like, wow, you kept it with you? Like,
and she brought it on the trip. I was like, that was part of the like, one thing, like, maybe, there was probably, maybe, like, 3 things where you're like,
maybe it was just because it was a very, like, special Bible.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only...
But when I was thinking, like, me, I would have just...
Yeah, or I would have just left it and brought a fresh Bible. Like, you know, like, with me, because I'm going on this, like, quest, and I don't need this Bible that's got, like, scribbles all over it.
Yeah.
But it obviously furthers the story, and it, you know, probably has, like, a connection. A lot of people have very special Bibles and stuff.
Right. Like the guy with the cross. Like, it's something that they're just connected to, so it doesn't matter if it's messed up.
Yeah, but I just thought that was kind of weird, like, and who keeps living in these houses?
Right, that, like, is something I never understand, is, like, when they reach to the end of it, they just continue to live there, and I just could not do that.
Yeah, like, at the end of this one, the woman, the, like, mom of the family, dies in the chair that the old guy had been, like, haunting, basically, and I was
why
like,
would you keep it?
That would be gone immediately, because I'm like, even if the old guy spirit was not the spirit that was, like, tormenting my family, I would be like, nah, get rid of all this house, all the furniture, not getting it, take what you can hold in your arms, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe not even that, let's just buy you new toys, it's fine, let's go, you know?
No.
And then, like, okay, the other thing that totally, you know, didn't make any sense was, why did the mom let the basement get, like, entirely flooded with water?
Yeah, that didn't make... I was like, your house is gonna, like, collapse on itself with all that fucking water damage.
I mean, that's something that you should, like, maybe you can't get the washing machine fixed, but you need to get... Your basement is becoming a swimming pool.
It shouldn't be that hard to shut off water coming out of your... washing machine.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
You should have shut the water off immediately. That was, like, one thing where I was like, okay.
Also, in the scene where the guy's, like, behind the other guy while he's, like, fixing that thing, and she's like, takes forever to be like, there's something behind you. She clearly could see him, like, 5 different times. Like, they show her, like, shining her light on that man's bald head. And then it takes her, like, 20 minutes to be like, hey, there's something behind you. I'm like, let him know immediately. Like, you are in a haunted house by an old man. Like, the moment you see a bald head, you're like, that's a dude! Like, what are you doing?
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know. The water, I was like, I get why you put this in, because it added all this, like, suspense and blah, blah, blah. But it didn't make any sense, because you have children living in this house. Like, you shouldn't be letting them, like, you know, the water overtake your whole entire house. Like, that's so crazy. Like, something crazy to do, like, and the house was just destroyed. I'm like, it would have been cheaper for you to move to a different house.
I know, they were like, oh, they just kept living here. I'm like, oh, what the hell? Like, you've destroyed every furniture in your house. Has been, like, tossed up against some wall.
Except for the freaking chair.
Yeah, the chair's just, like, completely fine. But, like, all your couches, all the beds, like, everything has been destroyed.
Yeah, and there's holes in the
window is blown out. You've completely flooded the downstairs basement.
Yeah, and that was the woman's fault. That wasn't the ghost. Okay, she didn't turn off the water.
I'm like, why did you keep living there?
Yeah, and she, like, put in to be, like, transferred housing, so you're like, why? I would move. Okay, I would just move. Like, anything weird happens, I'm gone. I'm moving, keep my stuff, it's fine, I don't need it.
I thought they were going to kill the dog, but the dog doesn't die.
There's no dog deaths in that movie.
Which is important for some people, like myself.
Yeah, there was no animal cruelty, and no one dies, actually, so that's good.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And the old man gets to live happily ever after.
Right, he finally got to return to his family.
Yeah.
I like happy endings.
Yeah, so.
And there's people behind the car.
This is like all those times that I was doing things in my car.
It's not illegal this time.
You know, overall it was really good, and like James Wan did like a really good job, and he's so adorable. Like,
he has like perfect teeth.
Yeah, and he's so youthful looking. He's just so.
It could be 95 or it could be 15. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure
he's just like really funny. He seems like he would be a fun person.
The mystery is part of it.
Yeah. He seems like a fun person to send text messages to.
Oh, I loved, also they talked about this in the Q&A, Verra experiencing some weird occurrences during both the filming of this one and the second one.
I'm pretty sure, isn't the Conjuring 2 the one that they had, like, they brought an exorcist
Conjuring
on?
1, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the second one.
Maybe it was both.
I don't know. But they, like, brought an actual exorcist to, like, you know, cleanse the set or
They were
something.
having, you know, some weird occurrences, which they didn't elaborate on, but they did elaborate on her, two of the things that she experienced, both with basically the semblance of 3 claw marks, one on the screen of her laptop, and then one that showed up on a bruise on her thigh.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting. I kind of wish that we had seen more of that, but we ended up leaving early.
I know. They seemed to, like, almost not really want to talk about it.
Yeah, they really did.
They were like, no, it really
brush
wasn't.
over it.
It wasn't really anything, and, you know, whatever. But I'm pretty sure I, like, read something, I don't know how credible it was, that they at least had an exorcist on one of the film sets. Because everyone was like, a lot of weird stuff kind of was happening.
Right, and it seemed like that's what they were kind of, like, leaning towards, but they just didn't, they didn't want to elaborate on it.
Yeah, they didn't really want to talk too much about it, because it's obviously kind of a weird, you know, to be like, I think there was demons on it.
Right, you don't want to, like, discredit your movie too much by being, like, a crazy person. Exactly. Like, not everybody believes in spirits and stuff, so it's like, you don't want to be like, there was a ghost. Ooh, you know.
But if you, like, you know, talk about stuff and, like, whatever, then weird stuff might just happen.
Right, kind of stare to the abyss sort of shit.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. I was wondering if they were going to talk about it more.
I did like that they finally talked about the thing in the first one where she's like, they're doing the exorcism on the guy.
What she sees, yeah.
He, like, shows her something and she's screaming, and I was like, I remember talking about this a couple months ago, that I wanted them to bring that up again. I wanted to know what that was about, and they did. They brought it up in this one, so I was really happy about that. I
like that they give a little bit extra, like, stuff. Like, this one was obviously about the thing in England, and then they talk a little bit about the Amityville thing without making another Amityville movie.
Right, thank God.
And then they talk about, like, the Annabeth.
I can
never remember. I think it's Annabelle.
I'm gonna look it up.
In the first one, a little bit, like, they have the intro is about that, and then they have a separate Annabelle movie, which, you know, is, like, they tried to make the doll, like, so much more creepy, but the, like, rag doll that it's actually based on is, like, way creepier, because
right,
I'm Annabelle. Like, why? I mean, I get why you wanted to do that, but, like,
so it is Annabelle.
Yeah,
I felt like it made it less creepy, because when you look up what the real doll is, which is just, like, the typical rag doll, I feel like it's so more, like, I don't know, the lifeless eyes, and the way that it looks is so much more unsettling to think about it being possessed than the doll that they have replaced it with, that they made it more, like, sinister. That's what they originally said. They were like, oh, we wanted to make it more sinister. But to me, it makes it less creepy.
Yeah, the, like, Raggedy Ann doll is, like, first of all, something that a lot of people had when they grew up, like, those Raggedy Andy and Raggedy Ann, because they were, like, we always had them for Christmas. I don't know why. Like, we always got, like,
a couple different ones.
Raggedy Ann and those, like, Snowden. I don't know if you ever had those. They were, like, snowmen. And we got them, like, every year. I don't know what they were for. We just always got them. But, like, so they're, like, first of all, something that you have. Like, not everyone has creepy porcelain dolls. And, like, extra creepy. Like, not just, like...
Right, let me get a porcelain doll that has, like, dirt all over its face. Like,
and looks like it's, like, wants to murder you.
Yeah, you're like, that's just outright scary. Yeah. But, like, something that's so normal, and so, like, everybody has it in their house.
And it's, like, soft, and, like, they don't look really creepy. They're almost, like... I think what's so creepy about them is, like, they're like the Chucky dolls, like, from Chucky, like, if he had, like, turned himself into, like a plush toy. Like, that's why they're so creepy, because, like, when Chucky first starts, he's just, like, a normal doll, like, that you would get, like, one of those, like, American Girl dolls or something. Right. And then he's, like, at the end, he's, like, you know, all disfigured and whatnot. But they're just, like, so much more creepy. I always remember, like, being told that story about the Raggedy Ann doll from Alicia, because she had them, like, she had Raggedy Ann dolls, and she'd be like, yeah, you know, my, like, brother told me this story about the possessed one, and she's like, now I keep them in my closet.
Like,
yeah, and they were just, like, she always told me that they were, like, it was sitting in, like, a seat, and, like, you weren't allowed to, like, play with it or touch it or anything.
Yeah.
And basically, it is. It's like sitting in a seat in, like, a little cabinet.
Right. It says
Like,
the positively do not open, which I like that they have that in there because you can tell it's sort of a little Easter egg for what it is in real life. Like when you look on their website, which you can, and if you go and see that in real life at their museum, it says that, you know, that old style writing and stuff. And it is the Raggedy Ann doll. And it's so, to me, it's just so much creepier. There's just so many things about it that just are so much more unsettling. Just looking at the picture of the doll online than I'm guessing like the whole movie is.
Yeah. It's their website is creepy because they play creepy music.
Yeah, they do. You go on and it's like automatically they're playing creepy music. You're like, damn, you were setting the scene.
Yeah, it's just it's unsettling. So, you know, but like I feel like that's the only problem I ever have with horror movies. They try to do things to be like, this is gonna be scary. When in reality, like, if you did, like, a little bit less, it would probably be more terrifying.
Yeah, less is more is usually the way to go with horror movies. Because that's when you get the movies where your imagination kind of takes over, and so it becomes a lot scarier.
Yeah, exactly. Or, like, a movie like Sinister, where, like, the plot of the movie was about that guy that, like, could travel through photographs, but they almost didn't talk about him the entire movie, which was good because he was, like, dumb. You know, I mean, well, he is scary. Please don't come for me. But, like, he was, you know, like, that's a little more, like, out of it. Mm-hmm. But then you just have these movies that look like these films that they keep playing over and over that legitimately looked so real that
like
it just...
real life snuff films.
Yeah, like, and I was like, oh, my God. And they just kept showing them. Like, the entire movie was just those films. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm so scared right now. So, like... It was almost just like you were watching people get murdered, so it's not like horror as you think of it, like where some demon's coming or there's like an axe murderer, you know, like It was more like somebody just went crazy and killed their family and they filmed it and you're like...
You're watching it, yeah.
And
there's
like
part
really
of that
unsettling.
That makes it a great horror film is because it stays with you, and that's one of those things, Sinister is one of those movies that it's gonna like linger with you for a while. Conjuring Part 1, Conjuring, the first one, was that way for me as well, where I felt like it lingered on after watching it. Like, I felt like I continued to feel the residual fear of that movie. And it was like, they make it in a way where you feel like that thing is going to come for you. And it's not like a slasher film where you're like, okay, well, that's kind of ridiculous and that's just dumb, like, you know. But something where it's not fully understood and, you know...
Yeah, you're like, it's gonna come for me.
Yeah, and when you might be half asleep in your house or something, it can be very terrifying.
I know, and they always just, you know, like, don't answer the door if there's knocking.
Right,
like,
everybody knows that. First of all, don't play with Ouija boards. Let's just get that out there.
That was
do
like,
not ever do that.
Don't make a Ouija board. Don't play with it. Don't ask questions.
And if you're gonna play with it, close it out. Don't just ask and then just leave it under your bed.
Yeah,
no.
And that was just like... You know,
also, if something's knocking the door, you say, who is it? Not, let me open this door
like,
for
a
this
lot of
demon.
freaky stuff is happening. I'm just going to open the door.
Yeah, and just wander out into the thing. No.
Don't do that. Okay? Like, don't open the door and, you know.
That's how it gets in.
Yeah. Don't go anywhere your dog won't go.
That's also a good rule. Especially when you're talking about the first one. If your dog is not going, you're staying as well. Yeah.
And I'm like, you let your dog get killed.
Yeah, in the first one, Jesus.
Yeah.
How dare you? Especially if your dog gets murdered. Don't stay in the house.
Yeah, you're like, your dog got murdered by something, like, creepy. Like, no. Don't.
They're like, well, whatever.
You know, it's just a dog. I'm like...
They just die sometimes. You're like, no.
No, get out of there. Yeah, I mean, and, like, you have to think about the fact that almost all of these families, you're just like, why do they stay in these houses?
No.
You're just like, no. Crazy white people. Always white families. It really is.
Oh my God. And the scene where the kid like throws the, you know, he puts the toy fire truck into the tent and then it rolls back out into his bedroom and he's like, I better go back and put it back in the tent because that's a good idea here in the middle of the night.
Yeah, he keeps like looking out and then like going back and then like looking out and like, I'm like, get in fucking bed. Don't ever think about the fire truck ever again.
Yeah, the thing is, when it comes into your room, first of all, you turn on the lights. And then you wake up your little friend brother that's sleeping over there in the corner. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? You don't, let me go give it back the fire truck and wants to play with me. That's not, you could tell the kid's afraid. Like, you're not doing it because you're that dumb, obviously, but you're dumb enough to do this.
He wasn't like the one who's like, he's my friend. You're like,
shut the fuck up, it's a demon, you stupid child.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know, and then there's obviously the one woman that's like, these are fake, they're faking it.
Those are the worst people in movies and in real life, because it's like, there's always the person that's like the super believer in the movies, or like, I am medium and stuff. There's always that annoying person that's like, everything's fake and I can prove it.
Yeah, and it was like, weird because she was a part of the paranormal society, and she's like, immediately comes in and is like, it's fake. Yeah. It's fake.
And she's so smug about it. I'm like, this family is being like tortured. I'm like, even if it is fake, this girl probably has some severe mental illness.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I'm like,
why are you so smug and happy about this?
Yeah. That was like, that part I was like, ugh, rude. I was just like,
yeah, I was like, just fuck off.
I know. I was like, how can you be a part of this paranormal thing and then you're just like, well, I was fooled by this Welsh family and, you know, tricked into believing.
But the best line of the whole movie is her just being like, well, you have to wonder what's worse, the demons or the people preying on our, you know, wanting to believe. And the Verra one just, the demons.
Yeah.
The demons are worse.
It's always the demons. Always, you know.
Don't even ask me that ever again.
I imagine the amount, it's like, you know, like the amount of people that are like pretending to have demonic possession and the people that actually have it, or, you know, think they're really experiencing, or they have some kind of illness or something. I feel like the people that are faking it are like the very low majority. Like, who's gonna like fake like cracking their back in half? And, like,
right, you're like, who is like destroying their house? Like,
yeah, and I mean,
this?
You know, and like, there's not a whole lot of gain from doing that, because most people, first of all, think you're crazy or like faking it or whatever, and then they just like write you off. It's like anybody that says they're abducted by aliens, then they're basically like ostracized from society because they're the like crazy person.
Wanting to like do it to your family, I almost understand, because there was so much about the hoax of Amityville. People were like, oh, we can do that and we can make money and stuff. But I feel like there's a line where you can see that this is like not, you know, if you're in it, you're like, well, this family is being torn apart by this. They're obviously not getting anything out of this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just have to like do, I don't know. And then like, especially since the family that was in this movie was very, like, they were poor and stuff, like they didn't have a lot, so I can't imagine that a family that didn't have a lot would stake all that they had on being like, let's pretend we're being haunted by a demon. Right. Like, you know, like if you have a lot more, then, you know, maybe I could see like maybe why you'd be like, well, this could be like a viral video or something.
Right.
But like when you're, you know, like this is all you have in this house, you can't even afford to get your freaking basement de-flooded, like, I doubt you're going to be having all of your furniture, like, thrown across and, like, ripped up and stuff, except for one disgusting chair, like.
Yeah, jeez.
So, basically that was everything in the movie. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Please subscribe if you want to. We would appreciate it. And we will see you next time when we make another video.
And this has been our super short show.